Shop smart, shop S-smart.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of New Book Who Dis.
I am your host, DeathMetalHero, and with me is Isaac Fox, and we actually met at Ancient City Comic-Con this year, where I got to sit in on a panel about creating indie comics. What's going on, Isaac? How you doing, man?
Oh, very busy, very tired, very stressed, but such is the life of anyone who wants to work in this industry. It's okay.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I mean, especially in the indie sector, you've got to be, writer, creator. You've got to promote your own stuff. You've got to, you're lucky you've got some assistants to help you, get scheduled and everything like that. But other people have to schedule themselves. They've got to, and you were telling me backstage you don't do social media, but other people do social media for themselves, promoting and whatnot. So yeah, it can get pretty exhausting being an independent comic creator. But
it's
being
not
able
for
to
the faint of
focus,
heart, for sure. Like you just said, like my title is supposed to be writer, but writing is maybe like 5% of my actual job anymore.
right?
Very rarely will I ever get to sit down and actually write anything. It's like, well, I can do it, of course, with time to create the books, but it's like, yeah, I like to spend every day just working on scripts, but no, I don't get to do that. I get like maybe 2 days a month to work on scripts.
Oh, it seems like you're cranking out the work while you have the opportunity to do it, though. I mean, this is
Absolutely.
number 5 of this book that you got going on.
Yeah, it's been a long time coming for it. Cremisi is the passion project is what I started with, which is why I always tell people if you want to do this job, don't start with your passion project. Start with a small scale thing that you can use to learn. I didn't do that, and that was a mistake. But
Yeah. Well, you
Cremisi's
learn from
on
that
number.
mistake.
You
It
do, of
happens.
course. That's why we
Yeah.
have more series that we do now. We have, I think it's like 7 series or 5 or 7 series in active production of some form at this point.
Nice.
Cremisi is the passion one, so it is very much it's a space western science fantasy inspired heavily by the 90s era of Toonami. So if you liked things like Trigun,
yeah.
Outlaw Star, Cowboy Bebop, Gundam Wing, it'll very much be up your alley. A little bit of inspiration
Awesome.
from things like Ninja Scroll, some of the classic
Mhm.
anime that were a lot more violent than what I think the modern audience is prepared for.
Oh yeah, yeah. I dare say that anime went a lot harder back in the 80s and 90s and early 2000s than it does now. It's
Yeah, when Goblin Slayer, the series came out, people were like freaked out by how like violent
Oh,
it
yeah.
was. I'm like, this is violent? Y'all should read Berserk.
wait
This
a
is
minute.
nothing.
Did y'all miss the shit that came out like in the previous 2 decades? I'm sorry,
This is nothing compared to Ninja Scroll or Berserk or Wicked
right?
Cell, Demon City Shinjuku, Vampire
Oh,
Hunter
Demon
D.
City Shinjuku. Now there's one that I rented from Blockbuster, not knowing at all what it was. And I got it home and I was just like, holy
Super
shit.
violent, and it does a lot of weird body horror that it makes
Mhm.
pseudo-sexual at the same time. Very
Yeah.
interesting experimental movie.
Oh yeah,
definitely worth
that
watching.
movie will fuck you up if you're not prepared for it. But yeah, good story altogether though. It
Very
was
much so.
very, very compelling story. Let's say hi to the chat real quick. What's going on, Flying Feline? Good to see you, beautiful Skull, darling. Thank you for being here. And we've got an Andrew Wilson in the chat as well. It says, Foxy Comics rocks. Isaac and his crew are the best. I followed Astral Ticket for years.
Thank
That's
you,
awesome.
Andrew. We really appreciate that. He really appreciates that because when you back our
Aw,
comics,
kitty.
you help feed the goblin. Yeah, why are you bothering me? I'm working. Go away.
He says, you need to give me some more food. Like Goblin wants
I
food.
literally fed them before this, knowing that if I didn't, they would be attacking me the entire time.
But I can see the bottom of the bowl. You clearly didn't feed me enough, Dad.
Yeah, that's cat logic. I'm all
Right?
too
Yep.
familiar with it.
What's up, Agent Zero? Yes, I've had quite a few cats over the years, and I'm very familiar with their logic as well. Good to see you, Agent Zero. I'm doing good, man. This is a gentleman that I met at Ancient City Comic-Con, which was a lot of fun, man. Had a lot of fun being on the panel with you guys, and there was a lot of good information. By the way, there is a link. Actually, it's up on my channel. I live streamed that event, so if you guys want to go back and watch that, I actually put it on a playlist on my channel of Ancient City Comic Con 2023. Granted, there's only a couple of videos on that playlist because the internet connection there was absolute shit.
Your first year at that venue?
Huh?
At the venue?
Yeah.
Yeah, the connection's always terrible.
Well, I mean, it was on my phone. Trying to get the connection on my phone was awful. But on my computer, the live stream turned out pretty good. You know, I was able to live stream that just fine. But I mean, I think because we were in that ballroom. I think because we were in there, we had more of a stronger internet connection. But like walking in from the outside, trying to do a live stream to give people an idea of where we were and what. Yeah, it was a little rough. The video looks a little potato. Luckily, the live stream or the panel looked good, and it sounded pretty good. So you can go check that out. Both Isaac and I are there. Thank you, Feline. I appreciate you. See, I got my partner in crime right here. She's
Nice.
my backup. She's always helping me. Yeah. But yeah, go check out the playlist there. And yeah, Ancient City Comic-Con, as in St. Augustine, Ancient City. Yeah.
The oldest city in the U.S.
Yep, oldest city in the U.S. That's right.
Right next to the
Oldest
largest
continuously settled city in the U.S. Yep. 1566, I think it is. 65, 66, something like that. But yeah, long time. Got the Fountain of Youth and everything down in St. Augustine as well. Actually, I worked downtown on St. George Street, so like right across the street from the fort. So I mean, I got kind of blasé about all that historical stuff. Everybody's like, "Ooh, there's so much history," and I'm like, "Yeah, whatever." Yeah. I mean, you come from Jacksonville, the kids all come down, and it is like the place to bring the school kids. It's yeah. Yeah, it was a cool convention, man. A lot of fun being there.
Ancient City is always a good one. This year was bigger than it normally is, but that show usually is like a medium show. This time it was a medium large. Like it was the bigger side of a medium show.
Yeah,
which is perfect for what I think I would prefer to do. I've never done anything like Mega or those, and I don't think I want to. I know
MegaCon's a lot of fun. I mean, actually, I think your book would do well down at MegaCon because a lot of it is anime and manga and stuff like that. So I
know
think
it would do well. The problem is that I think I would have a heart attack in the process of trying to do that for 4 days.
You just got to breathe. You just got to breathe.
Even a show like Ancient is very taxing for someone like me. So usually after a show, I spend about a week where I'm just like, I don't talk to anyone for about a week. And that's even a show as big as Ancient is. If I did Mega, I'm like, I'm concerned what the post-mortem is going to be like if I did a show that was that busy.
Okay.
Like,
Understandable.
Yeah, so it's a little rough for like, if you're an extroverted person, it's great. I myself am not. I'm an introverted person with PTSD, and I don't like being in crowds normally. When it comes to a convention, I will turn that off because the company demands it, and I will do anything for the logo behind me. But outside of that, I'm like, okay, I'm going to go just have some tea and a hot bath now. I'm done.
I 100% understand, man. I totally get it. I am, I guess, lucky in the fact that I can do this. I guess I'm what you would call an ambivert, because when I need to be on, I can be on. But yes, I likewise also have to decompress and get away and recharge my batteries. I enjoy my quiet time. That's why I love reading. I love stories. And Feline, you and I will have to compare notes on Amelia Island because I would like to hear your theories as to why you think Amelia Island is older. In Cincinnati, 513 representing. And Agent Zero says HeroesCon was massive compared to the shows I've been to. Yeah, HeroesCon is a pretty big show. But yeah, I used to go to conventions with a TV show that I did back in the early 2000s called Last Wednesday. We would we were actually broadcast on a local TV station here, and we would broadcast up into Jacksonville all the way down to Palm Coast, and we do we talk about comics, we review them, we talk about, and this was just before you know, Iron Man came out. One of the movies that we would run a trailer for, you know, or we did run a trailer for, was the Silver Surfer, you know, Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer.
Yeah.
So I mean, the movies were just starting to become popular, and yeah. We went to conventions. As a matter of fact, I've got a playlist on my channel of all of my old interviews back at MegaCon 2007 and 2008, and
We've been doing it
San
for a
Diego
while.
Comic-Con 2007. Yeah. So I mean, I stopped doing this kind of thing for probably about 15 years. Only just this year did I go back to MegaCon and start doing interviews again. Yeah, so it's fun to, I enjoy doing this just because I like talking to creative people. I like, you know, finding out what makes them tick, finding out what drives their creative process, because, you know, we each have our own different motivations. You know, we all have different reasons for doing, you know, what it is that we do. What got you into comic books? Like, what do you read currently, if
Pure
I might
spite.
ask?
It's all just pure spite.
Oh, okay. I mean, you know, we all have our reasons, you know.
Uh,
Somebody said you couldn't do it, you're like, fuck you, I can't.
that's definitely a motivator. That's definitely, there are definitely some
Uh-huh.
people that applies to. That was a joke on the spite part, but no, what you just said actually does apply to a handful of people I've met that are also in the
Sure.
industry, because many people in the industry are not friendly. As they are, as
Yeah,
any industry,
unfortunately.
especially, it's an entertainment industry. I used to work
Yeah.
in professional sports. It's the exact same thing. Actually, professional sports is way meaner, but comics are still.
Oh, I don't doubt it.
Entertainment is a highly competitive industry because everybody wants to do it,
Mm-hmm.
but are they willing to take what comes with it? As far as
And
what got
also
me,
egos.
there's a lot of that.
Yeah.
I've definitely encountered people that have huge egos.
Yeah.
Most recently, we went to hire an artist who quoted us a price that was like insanely cheap. Like, all right, well, that's yeah, we can do that. And then they said, well, I guess you guys. The next thing they said was, I said, okay, we can do that. Sure. When do you want? Would you want paid front? How do you want it? And then his next thing was, oh, I looked at your Kickstarter. You guys can't afford me, right? And the money he quoted, he's like, this person is not one of us. Was like $170. Like, are you under the impression that's a lot of money for a cover? Because if you think we can't afford that, and you look at, we work with Marvel and DC people, I'm gonna go ahead and say you can do the math on that one and how much those guys probably cost. So sometimes you run into attitudes like that. That's definitely a thing that's gonna happen, and that's in the industry though, and that's okay. You know, everything is a learning experience, even if it's unpleasant. Often learning hurts. It's especially when you're an indie and you're doing the independent comic side of things. You don't have any work experience with Marvel or DC or Image or these big companies that know what they're doing and have been for, you know, ever. It's kind of like being a toddler walking into. We were talking about
argue that
football
some
earlier.
of them may not know what they're doing anymore, but that's neither here nor there right now.
They have the resources at least to produce something. But for an independent guy who hasn't done that, it's kind of like being a toddler and walking out to play hockey against the Red Wings.
Sure.
You're going to get the living snot beaten out of you the entire time, and it's going to suck, and you're going to hate it, and you want to go home. But when the day is over, you're going to realize you learned a lot in the process. And learning is painful sometimes. So that's...
Well, I mean, it depends on how long it takes you to learn the lesson. You know, lessons will be repeated until until they're learned. You know?
Yeah, well, that's how the military treats you. Yeah, pretty much. Here you go. We're gonna do it over and over again until you can do it asleep backwards. And then maybe you're good enough. Maybe. We're not sure yet.
Right.
That definitely happens. As far as what got me to run this route, it was, I'm kind of weird in the comic industry in the sense that I'm more of an anime and manga guy. That being said, last year was the first year that comics and anime manga beat American comics here on the home front in terms of sales numbers.
By a long fucking stretch. As a matter of fact, what was it? Goblin Slayer? A single issue of Goblin Slayer outsold the entirety of the North American comic book industry.
So,
like, that should be a wake-up call to, you know, all American comics. Like, hey, get your shit together because your lunch is being eaten.
Well, that entire thing's an entirely another debate. There's a lot that can be said about that. I don't want to see comics lose here in the U.S. And the reality of it is, people who don't study history may not know, anime and manga are what they are because of American comics. But American comics and animation is what it is now because of comics and because of manga and anime.
Hmm.
It was something they taught us in college, was that a good creator borrows, but a great creator steals. And if you look
Yes.
at the modern industry of comics and manga, you can tell they've been stealing from each other for a long time, and it
Oh, sure.
works sometimes it doesn't. I think that's
Hmm.
okay. I think My Hero Academia is a fantastic example of a series that shows what American comics could be, because that
Sure.
entire series is a love letter to American comics.
Oh, yeah, it's
The
100%
manga, the
is.
first 3 pages has Batman, Wolverine, and Spider-Man on it.
Hmm.
They're silhouetted so they don't get in any legal trouble, but you know who they are.
Sure. Oh, yeah,
Yeah, they're-
totally. It's all about
they're-
superheroes, you
yeah,
know?
like, okay,
And
they're
it's got a distinct, Japanese bend on the American superhero.
well, and then
You know, they're-
the main hero is, they say he's Japanese, but I mean, come on, that dude is super. All Might is super American.
Well, I mean,
Yes.
his costume looks very much inspired by like Captain
Captain
America,
America.
Superman. He's blonde haired, blue eyes.
Kind of tanned.
Yeah. So,
How
I mean,
they tend to draw
yeah.
us. So, yeah.
He's that archetypal like Captain America, Superman type.
Exactly what he is.
That big barrel chested, powerful hero.
It's
you
like
know,
3 feet
the
taller
square
than
jaw.
everybody else, and like
Yeah.
4 feet wider because his shoulders are enormous. Yeah, that's exactly what
Yeah.
it is. And
Hmm.
I haven't worked for Marvel or DC or the big companies, so I don't really know anything, and I probably wouldn't be qualified to say what they should or shouldn't do. What I can say for my company was, what made me do the comics was that I fell in love with manga and anime when Toonami started bringing over anime back in the 90s.
Yeah.
And I started watching some of that, and there was one night when I first moved to Florida, I was up late at like 14 years old and turned on the TV on some channel, and I got to see Vampire Hunter D,
Yeah,
the
buddy.
first movie for that. And within like the 5 minute span, I got to see a guy's head explode and a boob. And as a 14-year-old guy, I'm like, this is amazing.
This is
What is
awesome.
where did this come from? How do I get more of this? So
Yep.
I kind of went down that hole, but that also introduced me to like Batman the Animated Series, which did get me reading Batman comics.
Yep.
Paul Dini is my favorite guy who's ever done anything with Batman.
That dude understands Batman unlike anybody else.
His Zatanna omnibus is amazing,
Mhm.
and it's totally unfair because you have Paul Dini writing it, and his wife is a magician. Dude, this is not fair that you get
I
to
did
write
not know
this.
that. That's pretty damn cool, man.
My old comic shop, you told me about that. I was like, you got to be kidding me.
Right
They
on.
have this guy who can write like this, and okay, well, obviously that's the guy you want writing Zatanna. Why wouldn't? That's the
Oh,
best pick in the world. Grab him, and he did do a
Yeah.
great job.
Well, I mean,
Um,
he's also very good at characterization. He understands how to get inside a character and tell their story. That's why the animated series was so successful.
It
I
was
mean,
just
aside
an
from the
all-around
amazing voice cast that they had as well, and like the top-notch animation. I mean, it all came together.
music,
Yeah.
atmosphere, everything was just amazing.
Yep. And absolutely, it
that's
definitely
what-
grabbed the feeling of like the old like 1940s Batman and like kind of brought it into a modern era. And
Looking at it as
presented
an
to kids.
adult is kind of comical because I'm like, wait, these guys are using Tommy guns, but Batman has a computer from 2015. I don't
Yeah.
understand what time period this is.
Yeah, no, well, see, that's the whole thing about Gotham. Gotham is always like that gothic kind of like
mobstery
stuck in the
kind of vibe.
1940s mobster vibe to it. Yeah,
So
Yep.
it works really well with it. Like, okay,
It
as
really
an adult,
does.
as a kid, you didn't think about it. It's like, well, he's Batman. He has cool stuff. He's Batman.
Yeah.
Duh. But as an adult, I'm like, this makes no sense. But he
yeah.
doesn't-
I mean, and
doesn't always
then you
have
had
to.
the Superman series, which is like the complete counterpoint to it. It's all light and shiny and modern
I
and all
like the
that.
Superman series. And
Yeah.
if I could ever write a comic for DC, I want to do a Superman book.
Okay.
And I just because I think that I know not to get too off topic. He's my favorite superhero, but people always say like, "Oh, this and this." Like if Superman's written properly, the super side isn't what matters. It's the man
Yeah.
side.
Mm-hmm. It's the
And
human side.
The
Absolutely.
idea that you could have all of this power to literally conquer a planet single-handedly
Yep.
and still always push yourself to do the right thing by other people, to me, is the most amazing lesson you could ever learn. And I
Mhm.
understand that these are fantasy characters, but just because a fantasy level of perfection exists doesn't mean it's wrong to attempt to achieve it in our own lives. If we
Of
were all
course.
like Superman, problems would be over. We'd have everything. We'd all be fine.
I mean, isn't that what superheroes are supposed to do? They're supposed to inspire us to
Yes,
to
to
be
some
better.
degree, absolutely.
To you reach toward that apex. Try to
Inspire,
be, be that.
entertain.
Yeah.
So certain comics I would say are definitely more entertaining than inspiring. Some
Sure.
characters are made more to be that way. I
100%.
love ecchi is one of my favorite genres. I'll openly admit that. It'd be cool if real life was like that, but at the same time, it also might kind of suck. It might get real old real quick. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
If I'm
I
sitting-
I could see. I can
Like,
see that.
do you really want to be sitting there trying to like fix this flat tire on the side of the interstate, and your ecchi waifu is with you and goes to hand you a tool and just falls out of her top, tripping forward while you're trying to get the car off the road from being murdered by another vehicle.
Yeah,
Not the situation I want that.
Yeah, I mean, it's fun and entertaining when you're watching it or experiencing like the story, but in real life, yeah, I don't know.
There's a fine line where fantasy needs to end and reality needs to take over for a bit. This does happen.
What's up, Edwin? Good to see you, man. Thanks for coming to hang out, dude. But yeah, no, I totally understand what you mean there.
It was a little bit of that though, and what pushed me to actually create the stories. So I mentioned before we got into the interview together, I have PTSD. This was a result of an extremely unpleasant childhood. I'll put unpleasant lightly. And for me growing up, that escape from that and being able to tolerate it was going into Toonami shows and just kind of escaping this reality. My favorite one being Outlaw Star, which is of the 3 big space western anime that came out. It's the least popular of the 3, which is that's fine. I love it.
I've heard nothing but good stuff about Outlaw Star. I've never seen it.
If you liked Firefly, there's a reason that a lot of people accused Firefly's writer of stealing from Outlaw Star. It's like, you must have watched Outlaw Star a lot, right? He's like, I've never seen it before, ever. You sure?
Like, you're talking about Joss Whedon?
Yeah. I don't want to say the name directly, but yeah, Whedon, like, he got a lot of questions like, dude, did you watch Outlaw Star before you wrote Firefly? What is that? Like, yeah, sure, man. Like, come on, there's so many similarities. But
yo, okay, buddy.
At the same time, it's probably because the genre is the same idea of it's a space western. There's like people crew on a ship and they're going on adventures.
Yeah,
I mean, there's only so many.
I mean, it's they're basic elements that you put together, and I mean, when somebody has an idea, I fully believe that when somebody has an idea, it kind of gets sent out into the idea space. It is out there, and somebody else, if they're thinking along the same lines, they're probably going to pick up on it, and they will make their own version of it. That's why we had the Comet movies at one point, like Deep Impact, and then and then Armageddon. That stuff happens.
For a while, every movie was The Matrix. So
after a while, that
dodge bullet stuff.
That's because everybody wanted to be the next Matrix. Nobody wants to just be something new and creative. They want to be the next thing that's already big.
So I have a fantastic counter to that.
Yeah,
and it's one that I hate. That I understand. So I got very lucky that the person who taught me business was a former Disney executive who I knew personally and took me out onto his yacht and taught me how to do things. I got very lucky, very grateful. He was a very nice gentleman. If you run a studio, you could either A, call Isaac Fox and take a gamble on his work that you've been told is good, but you don't know if it will work for a commercial audience or not. Or B, you can go for what may not make as much money, but you're guaranteed to make your money back and some profit on the nostalgic thing that already exists. Yeah. If I have to answer to shareholders, I'm going to pick the second option every time.
Sure. I would rather not answer the shareholders, and I'd rather have the creative freedom to go make something.
Agreed. New, But I mean, I'm saying that's where they're coming from with the decisions that get made.
Sure. But that's why we end up with copies and derivative shit that people are smart. I don't think that corporations like to give the audience enough credit because
they don't.
They pick up on derivative stuff. Yeah,
we saw that when the Witcher people were like, "Oh, most of the audience is American, so they're not smart enough to know this."
I'm sorry.
I don't know if I
believe
that.
I realized that Stepkowski stole all of that shit from Elric, the White Wolf. Michael Moorcock. Like down to calling him the White Wolf. It's like, come on, dude. What's up, Billy? He says Outlaw Star, Trigun, and Cowboy Bebop, late '90s triple threat. I love Trigun and I love Cowboy Bebop. I've never watched Outlaw Star, but I think I'm going to have to find it.
It's the most science fantasy of the 3.
Nice. Okay.
It kind of has its ups and downs the most of the 3.
Right.
But it has fantastic characters. It has a really fun story. And if you are ever... So that's good for me and what inspired me to... I wanted to create for somebody else something that could do for somebody else what Outlaw Star did for me. It just kind of gave me that, like... Because if I turn on Toonami and I watched Outlaw Star, I wasn't in this crappier situation anymore. I was on board the Outlaw Star. I was hanging out with Gene and Jim, Elfina, and checking out Aisha the entire time because she was hot. Yeah, and enjoying the adventures.
Well, that's what escapism is supposed to be.
Exactly.
That's what anime, manga, comics. That's what video games. It's all supposed to be escapism. It's supposed to tell you a story to entertain you, so you can escape from reality for a little bit. And in cases where people really need to get away from their reality, it's a mind break. It allows your mind to be creative and go into this fantasy world and enjoy it. So that's comics should be fun. Video games should be fun. Anime, manga should be fun. You know, if you're making this stuff and you're not having fun, then you're doing something wrong.
That's the argument we make. When I first started out, Cremisi is the passion project that's on Kickstarter right now. That one is very much Love Letter to Outlaw Star, Trigun, and Bebop. But it's a more serious story. It's about alcoholism and PTSD and heavy issues of abandonment, things like that. Whereas,
speaking of that, let me go ahead and bring up the campaign here.
Give me 1 second. I'm sorry. I'm hearing something very strange outside.
Uh-oh. Well,
right
while
back.
you're doing that, yeah, no worries. While you're doing that, I'll run the trailer.
That'd be a great idea.
Yeah.
Smart man. Be right back.
Don't you break it, don't you fake it, don't you mock it. There's a treasure thing for everyone, and then let me go. Only love it, only dreams it, only you it's just about the only thing I care about, and I'd let me go.
Wow.
Since the development of warp space drives and intergalactic travel, the universe has been classified into two major regions. The so-called civilized space, where major governments and empires rule all aspects of life, and free space, regions of space not controlled by any officially recognized power. The major galactic governments, in pursuit of their own interests, have established laws which restrict what those in free space believe to be inherent freedoms. Among those freedoms is the right to love and marry members of other sapient species. The small colony of Sufavree serves as a haven for those individuals who have forsaken the safety and comforts of their native worlds in exchange for personal freedom and the comforting embrace of another. Where there is beauty and purity, so too are those who wish to corrupt it. Whatever the reason, their dreams are others' nightmares. Shay of the Purgatory, what are your dreams? What is it you are trying to accomplish? It is important to remember, while we chase our dreams, we are also being chased by our nightmares. Believe in yourself. Don't fear failure. Shay of the Purgatory, do you remember why you are here? Do you recall your purpose? Let perish all who seek the gates.
Don't you break it, don't you fake it, don't you mock it. There's a treasure thing for everyone.
There's a reason why there's a parental advisory on my shows, folks.
Only love it, only dreams it, only you it's just about the only thing I care about, and I'd let me go.
That's a cool cover.
It's all censored. Everything on there is censored, viewable by any age, because Kickstarter demands we do that. So we, of course, they own the street, we play ball. It's totally fine.
Yeah, I mean, it's their platform. You gotta follow the rules. Understood.
And that's totally fine. We don't mind doing that. The song in that actually is the theme to Outlaw Star. It's the scene opening for it. But it's a cover by Trey Watson, who's a individual we found off YouTube. He did a cover of the song. We're like, dude, can we use some of that? And he was very nice. Let us use it, as long as we don't sell it, which we're not selling it. So
right,
it's just a Kickstarter trailer. No one's. I'm thinking about. It doesn't seem anybody cares about that, because I've seen copyrighted music in people's videos before, and I guess no one cares.
Yeah, it depends on the platform. But yeah, Agent Zero says bounce chicka wow wow. And Flying Feline says wow. Billy says, damn, this voiceover narration is straight fire. Who did your video for you?
A lot of people. The animation was done by Himino Arts. The music was made. The first part of the song with the vocals. I'm sorry. Let's try. Was done by Trey Watson. The backtracking you hear in other parts of the video was done by Solo Acapello, who's my musician and my editor. And the voiceover for the end of it there was Eric Bra, who is the voice of Draven, Vel'Koz, and Jax in League of Legends, characters in World of Warcraft, Heroes of the Storm, Weird Shadow Legends. A long list of things that gentleman does.
Yeah, I mean, well, that makes sense as to why his voice sounds so resonant. You know, he does this a lot.
He's a professional and knows what he's doing. I'm like,
no, it's good. I do voiceover narration as well, so I mean, I always hear it when somebody's got that edge.
I got another guy I got lucky to meet.
That's awesome, man.
He's a friend of mine. He's a really cool dude. Yeah, I often say the only talent I really have is the talent to convince other people around me to pursue the same goal. In this case, it's making
I mean,
these comics.
that is a talent all on its own, man. And yeah, Fund My Comic is a great website.
Yeah, I need to check them out to see what they're pulling
Absolutely,
in.
Man.
Because like
Lootstone
there's always new ones that pop up. Like, oh,
Yeah.
and they go away like in 6 months. You never hear about them again.
Oh yeah, no, the Fund My Comic is here to stay. Luke Stone has
Really?
been making comics for a while, and yeah, it's
Oh, I know him.
just getting started. He's
said-
picking up speed.
You said Luke Stone?
Luke Stone, that's
Oh, yeah,
my
we know
dude.
him.
He is the light Luke. I am the dark Luke. We established this like last year. Yeah. But yeah, he's kicking ass with Fund My Comics. As a matter of fact, Irene Strakowski just launched her new Fiendish book, and she's up to like something like 16K, probably more now.
Nice.
But yeah, she's kicking ass over there, and yeah, the platform it is specifically for making comics, and magazines, tabletop stuff like. So it's and you can do multiple things in one shopping cart. So it's a pretty incredible site. You should definitely check it out for one of your next campaigns, man.
Yeah, we'll do that for sure.
Yeah, and you said you knew Luke. I mean, definitely reach out to him, talk to him. He'll explain it to you, dude.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. What's up, Ms. Good Stuff?
a lot
Thank
of
you for coming to hang out. And Billy says, "Oh shit, I knew I recognized that voice. I participate in all those things." Yeah, this is right up Billy's alley. As a matter of fact, yeah. Agent Zero says he was speaking regarding censorship of the campaign because of the banks. Oh yeah, no, I know. Fund My Comic is yeah, it doesn't shadow ban, which is a good thing. Luke Stone is the artist on Agent Zero's Chrome Dog. So yeah, he's
Kickstarter
multiple
shadow bans?
talented.
I didn't know they did that.
Oh yeah, Kickstarter, Indiegogo, they for whatever arbitrary reason, if they find a reason, they'll shadow ban a campaign, and they'll still allow you to keep selling your product on their platform, but they won't promote it, they won't put it in the algorithm, and they'll continue to take a huge platform fee, like they actually did something. So I recommend everybody check out fundmycomic.com, and the awesome and amazing Flying Feline has posted the link for you all. Go check it out. Only a 3% platform fee, and you ain't gonna get shadow banned. As long as you're not doing anything illegal, they don't care. You can make your comic however the hell you want.
That's
So,
kind of
yeah.
the glory of indie comics is that you're going to run into ideas and things you may not see very often. We were talking
That
about
is
how
correct.
anime versus American comic book stuff now.
Mhm.
That's part of the reason manga is more popular, because you can go into it and you never know what's going to happen. The character you're following might not be the main character in 3 chapters, a la JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
Oh, yeah.
Very horrible things might happen to the main character, like in Berserk.
Like in
Or you-
Berserk, yeah, exactly.
Or I'm reading one right in front of me, actually. I've been reading this book, which is amazing and stupid, and I love it. It's literally called Rooster Fighter, and it's a
Hang on. Oh,
you're good.
all right.
It's
Nice.
an insanely stupid book, but it's fun. I'm like, oh, it's a literal rooster that fights demons in modern day Japan. Yeah, it sounds great. Drawn in a style very reminiscent of Fist of the North Star and the level of detail. and
Nice,
musculature.
dude.
Like,
Talk
okay,
about
this is
another
great.
classic anime and manga, dude.
Yeah, the
Fist
grandfather of all
North Star was
shonen.
brutal. Yeah, that is a brutal story.
It was a product of its time. A fun
Oh,
fact
yeah.
for you: are you familiar with Art Germ?
Yeah. Oh yeah, totally.
That's the show that inspired him to become an artist.
Well, thank you, Fist of the North Star, because Art Germ is great.
Because I had a chance to meet him and speak to him. He's like, yeah, it was all the musculature they did and how they did that. I fell in love with how they drew that.
Yeah,
That's
it had a
really
very
awesome.
unique style. Actually, kind of the art style kind of reminded me a little bit of like Crying Freeman as well. I don't know if you're
Okay.
familiar with that one.
I am not, but I believe you.
That came out around the same time as Fist of the North Star. See, I used to go into Blockbuster. I know there's a name out of the past that a lot of people may not remember.
Probably
But I
close
used
to
to go
the
to
same
Blockbuster.
age, so.
Yeah, I used to go to Blockbuster all the time and rent anime, just because it was fun. There were cool stories and visually interesting. you know, and yeah. So Crying Freeman, Fist of the North Star, Demon City Shinjuku, all these different things that I discovered. I mean, and I don't know, a lot of the stuff that they had was from like the late 80s into the 90s. You know, that was the heyday, it seems, of like really good anime. And Billy says, Penis Fight Island. You must be talking about JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
That show was a lesson in male beauty, is what we will call it.
Well, it was created by a male fashion designer, so yeah, that tracks. No, Katie, look at you like, when are you going to feed me, Dad?
He just had food. He just knows I'm doing things, and he wants to be part of it.
Well, he wants attention. You know, let me hang out with you. So you've got a lot of like really hot covers here, man.
We have a couple of things that we brought so when we do special items like signed books and like that, we always get a couple extra because packages get lost or damaged. Anything could happen that we might need to have an extra on hand should something happen. We can't fulfill it for a customer because we always want to make sure they get what they pay for and then some. So when that happened, so we had some of those left over. My usual rule is I hold on to anything that we get one extra of, like metal covers or glow covers, whatever, for 1 year.
Right.
After 1 year, it's available to be sold because within a year's time period, if someone had lost the package or it got damaged, they would have told me by then. Yeah, I'd have known by then. And if they didn't by then, like, dude, it's been a year, man. Come on, like, it's been a year, bro.
You need if you haven't gotten it by then, you need to reach out to me. I mean, you got to.
Well, if it came in damaged,
the onus is on the person. Absolutely.
If you had it like you had the package received, and you didn't open it for a year, and then found the book was damaged, they're like, well, dude, it's been a year.
That's on you.
Yeah, it's been a year, man. I mean, I even have that anymore. I don't even exist sometimes anymore. So that's what these. I need to change that. Change that spotlight today. That drives will be changed today. But that's some of the stuff we offered from old campaigns that we brought back because there's just limited items like signed by Lyrics. Lyrics is Art Germ's like right-hand artist at this point. She's incredible. She does stuff with like I think she does stuff with Marvel, Red Sonja, a bunch of really impressive books that she works with.
Yeah, I know Art Germ has been doing a lot of covers for Marvel and DC. You know, I actually worked in my local comic shop for 7 years, from 2015 up until last year. And I saw a lot of Art Germ's covers come in, and they always sold really well because people like that. Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, I mean, there's a certain style that comes along with it, and the way he depicts. I mean, obviously, he can draw a hot chick. Like he draws hot women
circles back
very
to what we were talking about earlier about manga versus comics, because his style is very much like a fusion of the two, of Western and Eastern style.
It is. It really is.
That's my point. I'm trying to for what we do for these comics. Our work is more anime and manga inspired, but it's more like that fusion of Eastern and Western.
Yes.
That way, we don't go too hard into one direction. Like you still read it like you would an American comic, left to right. You're not starting from right to left, because it's not. I don't call it manga, though the art often is very reminiscent of. I don't because my colleague in Tokyo who works in comics as well, though. But he was like, "Yeah, don't do that. Don't call it manga." People in Japan
that's their term for comic books,
right? We would hate you for that. Don't do that.
Like, okay, don't co-opt somebody else's shit. Just make your own thing. You know, that's exactly. Yeah. I don't believe in it's an American manga. No, stop it. Don't do that. You make American comics because you're over here in America. Yeah, you might do it in the style. Yeah. You might do it in the same style, but it's a comic book over here. You know,
right.
And anyway, we won't get into that. I understand exactly what they're talking about there. You know, just call it a comic book.
Always listen. This book is a 2-book campaign. It also has Mistress Azumi's Adult Lessons.
Nice.
That is co-written by Azumi, and what that is lessons adults should learn how to do, taught by a naughty fox girl and her very, and I do mean very, lewd friends. That's what it is. They're teaching you how to do things that you should know how to do as an adult. But there's a lot of adult gags and imagery used along the way.
A lot of lewd jokes and TNA.
Those are the two
make sure you're
cleanest
paying
pages
attention.
in the entire second book. Those are the only pages I think that don't have any nudity on them. This is why we use them for the show off.
That makes sense. That makes sense. You know,
I think it's the only ones we have that don't just have straight up like full frontal nudity in it. I'm not sure.
Right.
But so you'll
Uh,
find if you talk to people in comics that everyone has been a teacher. Like doesn't matter if
Right.
they're an artist or writer, an editor, they've been a teacher, myself included.
Mhm.
So it's like, well, and what I've learned is humans, at least in our society, when we hit 30, we don't want to learn anymore. Everybody stops trying to learn. They have a preconceived notion. They want to learn nothing new.
Right.
Like don't want to learn how to fix their own stuff. Don't learn how to maybe work on the computer or whatever, which is fine. But like, well, you know what they do like? They like naked fox girls. So what if we combine the two ideas and we gave people imagery they can enjoy and have fun with, but at the same
Mhm.
time could actually help people with their life? Let's do that.
Hey, you got the visuals to draw them in, and then they'll be picking up information whether they like it or not.
Well, like the first issue we did on Mistress Zoo, which is available in this campaign with a new cover. It was about budgeting, and the advice we gave in that about basic budgeting advice. It wasn't professional ideas or anything like that. It was just, this is the thing you can do.
Right.
An accountant, we had it verified by an accountant as, yeah, that's actually pretty good advice. There's different ways to do it, but that's a good, yeah, that's pretty good.
Yep.
Great. Issue number 2 is literally involves automotive repair, and that's been verified by a mechanic as accurate. Yeah, we
There you
try
go.
to actually give people good lessons to help them if we can.
Yeah.
But obviously, you see on the right side there, that's the imagery you're going to get, and it's going to be a lot of that.
Mm-hmm. Again, bringing people in with the visuals, and then giving them information that will be useful in their life later on. So that's I think that's a cool balance to have there. And like you said, a lot of people don't seem to want to learn anything anymore. So if you want the boobies, then you're going to have to learn something along the way. So hey man, it's good. Imparting wisdom and information to people, with the visual aids of boobies. I like it. I think it's a good business model. What's up, Hen? Thanks for coming to hang out. So yeah, this looks like a lot of fun, man. You
have a lot of, if you want, you can just keep
Space
scrolling,
Cowboys.
it goes a long way.
Yeah. I just want to give people a chance. Everybody needs to go check this out. That is a fucking badass cover. That black and white with just like the red.
The book used to be issues 1 through 4 are only have red as a color. That is, and I can actually show you. I have a sample of it right in front of me, actually.
Yeah, please do.
Of what it used to look like. So Cremisi originally looked much more like this. Was what you were going to see inside the book, and this is issue 1.
Cool.
There's nothing too horribly egregious on these pages that I can get in trouble with get anybody in trouble with. This is an old damaged copy, so I can be rough with it.
Right. That's
why it's on my desk
on the inside.
There you go. Thing like that.
Yeah. Oh man.
That's how the book
really
used
cool.
to look.
Right.
It doesn't do that. Issue 5, when we did a last Cremisi campaign we asked people if they'd like to see the series in full color, and we got an overwhelming response of yes. So issue 5 is the first fully colored issue in the series. Probably the last fully colored one, at least for a while.
Okay.
When I originally started doing comics, I started with Cremisi, number 1, as my passion project.
Sure.
And it's a story I just want to tell. I think it's a fun story. It's about an alcoholic spaceship captain and the history he has with the universe, and him and his crew end up saving the universe, and kind of tackles ideas like PTSD, alcoholism, abandonment.
Right.
What is actually right versus wrong? Is it okay to kill an innocent person today, knowing that at some point in time they're going to do something bad? Is that answering kind of moral questions like that, kind of diving into it? It's been an interesting story so far, and that it has evolved from when I first started writing it. I've worked on it for a long time.
And thus is the nature of stories.
Exactly. I started working on this thing for over 10 years ago.
Oh wow! Okay.
It was just a passion story that I had. But we started doing the comic thing. Turns out, boys and girls and other out there, just so you know, that making comics is extremely expensive, and I do mean extremely expensive.
It can be. That's for damn sure.
And we didn't have the budget to hire a colorist. I could afford the artist, and that was about it. So the book didn't have color. Now we've gotten a lot bigger since then. We have more staff now. This is now my full-time job. Now we can afford a colorist, and we have a chief colorist on hand colorist Creus, who colored the entirety of this book.
Awesome.
If you keep scrolling, you'll get to some of the pages from the book if you want to see what those look like, because his colors are amazing. We did do some since this is the end of the first arc of the Cremisi storyline, issue number 5. We did bring new covers in for issues 1 through 4 to help celebrate that the first arc is wrapping up, and this is kind of
cool.
Maybe not for the audience as much, but for us, this is a huge achievement to finish a first arc of a comic. Holy crap!
Yeah, for sure, man.
So we want to bring in some stuff and show off okay, this is what we can do now. This is what we used to do. Wow, we've improved a lot in how we handle everything. And they're all in Street Fighter's cosplays to celebrate Street Fighter 6 coming out.
Hey guys, if you go check out the page here, you can click to download a free sampler pack.
Yes, that has a couple of pages from all of our series.
I'm just saying, go click that link. Check it out.
I will tell you that the sampler pack is censored though, so you're not going to see nudity inside that. I'm sorry.
Well, I mean, you gotta cover your ass, man.
Well, because a kid could come into my page and click
exactly.
Exactly. So it has to be viewable.
I mean, I had prints that I had up at the show, and I had to have them censored. The front one was covered, but when people wanted one, they got.
Oh, if you come to our table, if you see our table, I have 2 binders. One's a black binder with a zoomie on it, and one's a pink binder. And the pink binder says you have to be 18 to open it. That's where all the naked variants and stuff is at. Like, they're over there.
Right.
It's the weirdest thing that I like. Anybody out there, if you haven't gotten to this age yet, you'll find out that one day you're not going to be able to tell what age anybody is. You just know they're either older than you or they're younger than you. That's all you can tell.
Right.
So I get in trouble. I don't want to get in trouble, but I always have it at cons where I'll go to stop. Like, I'm sorry, sweetie, you had to be 18 to open that, and it'll be a woman who's like 5 feet tall, and the guy just goes, "Dude, she's 36, and we get married in a week." Okay, be my guest. I am so sorry.
Cool.
Really young.
Listen, I'm just covering my ass here. I don't want somebody to get have their kid open up something, look at something, and I get yelled at because of it.
The kids. The funny part is the kids never mess with that stuff.
Well, that's good. That's good.
At least not little boys run away from it. They see like the stop with like a girl with a low cut shirt, and they just like turn around and run away immediately. Little girls want to open it for some reason, or so sit there and stare at it. And I'm like, man, like, oh, she's fine. She's not touching it. Okay. Whatever you say. I'm not the parent. Do what you want.
Right. As long as you ain't gonna come at me after a little bit.
Pretty much. Just as long as you're okay with what we have.
The colors are great on this, man. Like Creus did a great job.
Creus is insanely good at what he does. He was originally just a cover artist and a colorist for us. He is now a lead artist as well, because he can draw and he can color and he can do everything. So he actually is working on part of one of our new series coming out, and he is the lead artist.
Awesome.
For Suzumi's second adult lesson. He was also the guy who drew the first adult lesson. It was colored by Kane, but it was drew on by him. I have a copy, but I don't know if I can find a single page in the first issue that can be shown off. I can do this. I'm like, this is what Mr. Zumi Adult Lessons number 1's A cover looks like.
Nice.
Don't know if there's a single page in this book I can really show off without getting anybody in trouble. Yeah, there's not. So there you go. It's the kind of book you're getting. I can't even show off a single interior page.
Well, I mean, see, you know what you're getting into with this. There's a certain style, there's a certain type of story that's being told. So what's up, some person? Thanks for coming to hang out. Some person says she probably felt complimented by that you thought she was so young, I guess.
Probably, I would hope so. That's a superpower. Are you kidding me?
Right.
You've seen that. That was the same banner I have behind me at cons.
Mm-hmm.
Normally it's the one sitting behind me here, but I'm using a different one for today.
Yeah.
That just shows off some of the works we've done. We have the Cremisi series is my passion project, which is live right now. We just finished up Pure Intent, which will have a 3rd issue coming out next year, which is a prequel, but not a prerequisite to Cremisi. We also have the SuccuBUSTED series, which is our most popular series, and issue number 2 is currently the number 1 most funded, most popular, most backed Kickstarter comic for single issue comics in the history of America's largest city, Jacksonville, Florida.
Right on, man.
So that's great. Issue number 3 of that comes out later this year. And then we've also got, what else we have working on? We have another Foxy Vacations we're working on, which is our pinup series. The first issue of it, as we mentioned, our work is a lot more anime inspired. Foxy, since every anime, for whatever reason, has to have a Hot Springs episode. They have to have it. Doesn't matter what it is. Everybody's got to go to
it's
a
in
Hot
the bylines. If they're going to greenlight an anime series, it's got to have like a Hot Springs episode somewhere.
Hot Springs or beach, but Hot Springs preferable. Okay, every time.
Totally.
So Foxy Vacations was our Hot Springs episode where it takes characters from all of our universes and tosses them into a hot spring together. It's It's mostly naughty pinups done by artists from all over the world.
Right.
The second issue of that takes place at a fictitious adults-only cosplay convention. I have to say fictitious because when we first announced this book, I got a bunch of messages from people asking, where can we go to, where do we have to go to this con? No, I mean,
I'm
it's
sorry,
not real.
it doesn't actually exist.
It's fake.
It only exists in this story, so you'll have to buy the book in order to attend this con. You know,
those cons are starting to exist in great number, but
no.
The gentleman who puts on Ancient City, I talked to him about that. I'm like, yeah, I'm seeing a lot of like ecchi and adult cons, like almost like straight up hentai cons happening, and they're all out west. They're all like in Texas or Oklahoma or the center of or Denver. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, in the middle of the country where there's not much to do. I mean, that's understandable.
I didn't think about that, but you have a solid point.
I mean, you know, just saying. You gotta find some way to entertain yourself. So
it's that or stare at corn for 6 hours. Which one do you want to do?
Exactly.
That was another Street Fighter cover. We had Azumi cosplaying Juri Han. Going right below that.
This one.
Yep. Cosplaying Juri from that one.
Yeah.
Azumi's idea. Nico did a really good job on that. I'm really happy with. Oh darn it! Really happy with how that one looks.
Yeah. You know what I find funny is that a lot of the artists that do this type of artwork are women. You know?
Yeah, no one knows that. Actually,
I know. They think it's just a bunch of old horny guys, and no, these are chicks drawing these bodaciously busty, curvaceous women.
Up until about maybe 3 months ago, every single artist that was drawing the comics and designing our characters was female.
Yeah.
It just so happens that Krius is male, and he's coming out on that. But everybody else, the lead artist for this series was Sayako Rush, who was the #1 manga and comic artist in Poland. So she retired from comics. Now Nila Nandita does it, and Nila's out of Indonesia, also female. And Mitsu Blinger leads SuccuBUSTED series, and she does the comic pages on Foxy Vacations, also female. But like you just said, one of the artists we've worked with before, who her profession is she makes hentai, is she's a hentai artist out of Israel, of all places. Like you would never expect to find someone like that from there.
Yeah,
but there you go.
That's kind of completely out of left field, but hey, you know.
Yeah. And then
stories cross all borders, you know.
They should. To go beyond
comics,
that,
I mean, comic books, manga, stories like this, that it's for everybody everywhere. And you can never tell where an artist is going to come from.
You would never. There's people that we work with. You name the country, I've worked with somebody from it at this point. And it's you may not think those are the guys that would do it, but like you just said, a lot of time it's women. A lot of the female characters that we've designed, I called for smaller breasts on them. I showed them a chart and gave them like a B or a C sometimes, and they would come back with double D's immediately. You're like, well, if you're the artist, maybe we'll do that. Sure, you drew it. Or there's some characters. Actually, Renee, who's the girl in the green skirt on the graphic on the right there, it's also available as a cover. She was supposed to be she was supposed to be smaller chested when we designed her. And every artist that ever touched her gave her a bigger chest every time, until I was finally tired of fighting it. Like, fine, forget it. They're bigger now. Whatever. I'm tired of fighting on this. But it was always women artists doing it. It was never the guys were the ones that adhered to the size.
Right.
Like, that's interesting. Like, yeah. So I'm like, well, you guys can't get mad at me because I say I'm a pervert, because I am, but she designed it.
Yeah.
I just
okayed it. That's the funny thing, is that, women like seeing beautiful women as well. It's not just men that like that. It's
I can vouch from experience.
Superheroes, right? Superheroes with their sculpted muscular physiques, like that is the peak pinnacle. Guys see that and like, I need to hit the gym. I need to lift weights. I need to get buff. And I figure that it's got to be at least somewhat the same with women when they see like a busty, curvaceous woman that's like, I want to be sexy like that. I want to try to achieve that. I don't know. It's silly.
I have no idea.
My girl here, she understands. She's 100%. She 100% enjoys seeing the beautiful ladies. As a matter of fact, when I'm drawing ladies, she is my second set of eyes. When I'm drawing some sexy ladies. I had a sexy succubus at the convention. And she was my second set of eyes on that. She helps me make sure I get the anatomy correct. So I mean, it's the whole thing of like, oh, it's just pervert dudes. Nah, it ain't, brah. It ain't. You know,
You'd
you
be
can take
surprised.
that whole thing and throw it right out the window because it ain't true.
You'd be very surprised with who actually designs a lot of the characters and stuff that you see. Our most popular series, you mentioned the Succubus, is SuccuBUSTED. And
Yeah.
I did have a girl at the con say, "Well, is it a book where the girls are just kind of like bimbos?" Like, no, actually, no, because I've had readers complain about reading other independent comics where the female characters are clearly just there for the service of the male counterparts.
Right.
So the artist who does SuccuBUSTED, Mitsu Blinger, who is a woman, is one of several women who review those stories before, as I write them, to make sure that I'm not doing that because I don't want that to be the case. Like, they
Yeah,
can be
you got to have
demons.
each character's got to have depth. They got to be a real character.
Exactly.
You know,
They can
can't
be a
just
demon
be a
of sex
kiddie
and lust,
pool.
sure, but they
Yeah.
need to. But don't make them dumb about it. It's okay if they kind of own what they are and they embrace it as a thing. Like, that's okay. All right, so
Yeah.
we can work with it. It's a weird mentality to have, but one thing that I always say that when I write my comic books is I write it with the question of, would I want my daughter to read this? Now,
Right.
at age appropriate levels. What I mean
At
by
age,
that
yes,
is,
exactly.
if so with, let's say, like SuccuBUSTED, which is an ecchi comedy, or Mr. Suzumi, actually a great example, a very naughty book. If my daughter was over 18, would I be ashamed of her opening that book up? But I would think, would I be afraid that would destroy her image of me and I'd be a villain? No, because it's just naked women that talk about how to do things. They can help you. So no, I'm not worried about that at all. The female characters are not like, oh, look, it's a guy, and immediately just tear their clothes off. I'm not going to do that. Unless you want to write me a big enough check, then we can talk about it. But until that point,
Yeah, but then you know, it's a different story, and you're funding that, and it's just, you know, it's a commission at that.
Well, that's
point.
when Azumi co-wrote Mr. Azumi's Adult Lessons, which is that secondary book that's on here.
Yeah.
And she asked how far could she go, and I said, well, the only rule is we can't do hentai. We're not making that, because once you, in the industry of comics, probably any industry really, once you open that box, you can't close it again. So you'll always have that associated with your name, and then the artists who work with me will also have it associated with their portfolio's should they ever get hired by someone bigger.
Right.
It's like, okay, let's not do that.
I mean,
unless, you know, somebody says, hey, here's X amount of money, I want you to make this thing. And at that point, we're going to be like, sure. That changes
to
things.
be fair, you know, this was my first published work for Shattermare.
Nice.
You know, there's this safe for work version, and then there's the not safe for work version.
Yeah, so we call them naughty and nices. There's a nice, which is the safe. There's a not is nice, semi naughty, naughty, and then there's ultra naughty.
Ultra naughty.
How we categorize them. Basically, semi naughty. That should be said semi naughty. That was my mistake on the graphic, because semi naughty is like that. Like, it's a butt. You wouldn't want it in a shop window. You may not want small children seeing it, but it's not that big of a deal. Naughty would be just bare breasts or bare butt. Ultra naughty is bare vagina and overtly sexual situations.
Of course, and you know, positions and stuff like that. So yeah,
right. Like if she's presenting or whatever, like, okay, that's ultra naughty, because that's just not. But if she's just like at the beach lounging in a chair with her top off, that's just a naughty book. I mean, people do it all the time. Not a big deal.
It's topless beaches. I mean, and again, it seems like people are afraid of the human body these days, and they're so pearl clutchy when it comes to like the naked human form. Like, you know, everybody's got a body, and at some point, at least I hope, you know, go take a damn shower. So you got to be naked with it at some point. So I don't know. Feels like a lot of people just need to quit the pearl clutching and grow the fuck up, in my opinion.
Well, it's a weird thing in our society where the violence is accepted, but the nudity is not. It's a very weird thing. But at the same time, Kickstarter has the rules. We play by the rules.
Of course.
Obviously,
using their platform, man. Yeah,
we don't mind
100%.
I would like to. We want to do actually a few covers that would have male counterparts on them for naked varieties, and we've been trying to see if people like that. We don't know. We actually have one of our artists and I are working on a small side project of a femboy character to see, like, well, just to people like this kind of stuff. We always ask, like, you know, do you guys feel like we should make some sexy guy covers too, or not?
Right.
To be fair, we believe in equal opportunity fan service.
Sure.
What we got a couple of interesting responses from it, so we might see if we can do like that in the future.
Always talk to your audience, find out what they're into.
That's something I never understood, and I see people who blame their audience for not liking their thing or how they changed it, or like Kevin Smith did with the He-Man show, which I've never said. I haven't seen it. I have no opinion. I don't know anything about it. I just know
I haven't watched it. I have no intention to watch it, and I can unequivocally say he fucked it up. And
that's all I know, because I'm not taking a stance on anything. I'm just saying that's I've heard. I know he came out and told his audience it was like their fault for not liking his vision.
No, you don't
like
blame
that
the
approach.
audience. Dude, no, you don't ever blame the audience for not buying into the direction you're trying to take a story. If they don't take it, then that means you fucked up as a storyteller. That the onus is on you as a storyteller to tell a good story and entertain the audience. If the audience doesn't show up, that is on you. I don't care how big you are. I don't care how big your name is.
That's one reason why you're seeing more cosplay covers. We had backers actually ask us, could you do more your characters in cosplays? Yeah, absolutely. You want that? We're here to make you happy. That's what my job is. My job is to make people's day better. If that is a story involving sexy demon girls or just pinups or serious tales of alcohol and retribution, great. However I can do it, let me help you out. That's one reason why
entertain the audience. Yep.
That's one reason why our prices aren't as high as some other Kickstarter creators, because I legitimately want people to read the book. I want them to have it. So I'm not gonna price gouge you, because I'm not here to do that. That price gouging is the opposite of happiness. I'm not gonna do that. I don't agree with that.
There is a lot of content on this page, folks. Y'all need to go check out this page.
I'm just gonna warn you, like, so that's why I said, you want to keep scrolling, you can. It goes a ways.
Well, I mean, we're talking, and I'm just showing. So you got calendar. Wow, you got all kinds of stuff on here. You guys really do need to go check this out. If this seems like it's up your alley, space cowboys and naughty fox girls.
That's our specialty. Even though our mascot behind me there is the raccoon girl. That's the girl you talked to actually for set this up.
She did mention that she was also the mascot, and that's cool. Oh, hang on, let me go ahead and bring that up.
No problem. That's her.
Very cool.
Finger strategically placed.
YouTube and their rules. I mean, it's artwork, so you'd think that maybe they wouldn't, but and also my channel is like explicitly not for kids. Like, I am not safe for work most of the fucking time. Like, my language precludes me from being safe from work most of the time. So there's a reason why I have a parental advisory on every show that I do.
As long as
just
you
in
warn
case
them about it, you can't get in trouble. You said, like, hey, this is what you're gonna see.
Not for kids. Unequivocally not for kids. Sorry.
That's why a lot of our stuff says 18 plus. If you go on our website, books will tell you if they're 18 plus or not. I'm not telling your kid what they can and can't read. That's on you.
Yep. See, Feline knows. Unequivocally not safe for work. Yes, she agrees. Yep. My girl knows. But man, this is cool. I think that there should be freedom to create the kind of stories that you want to create. And obviously you're going for age appropriate, you gotta be of age to read this stuff.
Normally Cremisi is a 16 plus series, but I will say issue 1 has one topless scene in it, but it's extremely tasteful. It's nothing like you would see in an art museum. It's nothing crazy about it. And from there you don't see any more nudity up until issue 5, which has a lot of it, and it's a lot more egregious in that category. You see, it's not super detailed, but there's a scene where you can see people having sex in the background. You can't see much going on, but you can tell what's happening.
You know what's happening. Yeah.
Right. Because I won't, one of the rules that I have is I don't allow depictions of actual penetration, because that puts us into the H category.
That also puts you into the hentai category.
Because that's what I meant by H. Yeah. Exactly. It's easy. It's the way that doesn't get you picked up by bots and stuff for saying wrong things. Like, just H.
Oh, yeah. Well, whatever. I have a tendency to say wrong things. It's just language should be used. We have language for a reason. We have words for a reason. We might as well use them. It gets
that's
obnoxious.
That we received some feedback actually at that convention about what I liked about Cremisi was that the characters talk like actual people. I'll give you an example. Like, I've been playing Baldur's Gate 3 lately. The dialogue is often eloquent and beautifully sculpted, and in the D&D universe, it makes perfect sense. But if I met this guy on the street and he talked like that, I would think he was high. There's no way someone talks.
The hell's wrong with you? Why are you talking like that?
Bro, what did you do? What did you do? PCP? What are you on? Because no one talks like this.
Yeah.
Is
this a Dead Space cover?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, we did.
Very nice. Okay, cool. The gun and the armor give it away. Yeah.
Oh, wait till you see the next version of it.
Oh my. And the tentacle. Oh shit. Yep.
I think the marketing line, yeah, in space, no one can hear you cream. That was the tagline. For
The
that.
other one, in space, you don't need pants. That was another funny little tagline I saw up there.
I try to throw little things in there here and there just to remind people, like, hey, I'm just trying to entertain you guys. I just want you to smile. That's all I'm trying to do.
Yeah, well, they're comics, man. You're supposed to have fun, you know, and delivering an actual story with the TNA, you know, with the hot, sexy chicks.
You can have both.
You can have both.
Handle it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you have to be funny enough, like when doing stuff like this, you have to be mature enough to actually, you know, be able to tell that story and entertain the audience, and then, you know, sprinkle in the TNA. Yeah.
The question I ask about is, does the TNA make sense to the story and the characters involved in that moment? Like, let's say if you're watching Star Wars, and Princess Leia is fighting, I don't know, a female stormtrooper. Is that a situation where you'd want them to be like, all right, we're gonna take our clothes off and have a Jello wrestling contest instead in the middle of a Star Wars movie? This doesn't make sense at all.
Doesn't make any kind of sense.
Exactly.
But if they're in Jabba's palace and, you know, Jabba's, you know, doing his thing, I mean, that makes a little more sense, I guess.
Right. But at the same time, if I'm watching like High School DxD and they decide they're gonna do that, well, I'm like, well, yeah, that makes sense in this universe, and yeah, they always do this stupid stuff. Yeah, sure. Okay, I get it. I'm cool with that.
Right. And you got the whole creative team here.
Yeah, that's most of our team.
Comics.
That's most of it.
Oh, okay.
Like, I'm just imagining now, like, if Casca got mad and at Guts for getting Griffith's attention to challenge him to a strip contest, like, yeah, that would make no sense. You would assassinate the character so heavily by doing that.
Well, I mean, that seems to be a popular thing in comics these days, to completely assassinate the character of, you know, established characters. But, you know, in indie comics, we have more integrity.
I haven't read a mainstream comic in a while outside of
You
Saga.
ain't missing shit.
I like Saga.
Speaking as somebody that worked in a comic shop for the better part of a decade, you're not missing a damn thing. Except for Mark Millar's stuff. Mark Millar is consistently good at what he does. He's always putting out quality stuff. Huh?
I did like some of Tom King's work. I thought he had some pretty good writing. But he's kind
There's been a Superman story here and there that sold pretty well, but predominantly I had people complain about Tom King.
Really? Well, I've heard he's controversial. I don't know why. I stay away from all of that. So one thing is that Astral Ticket as a company, we're very isolationist. I do not really get involved with a lot of other people's issues or drama or what they're trying to do.
Good. Drama's bullshit.
I don't
worth
really
it.
look. Yeah, I don't look at the comic industry either that much in terms of like what are Marvel and DC doing. I see that a lot of people are upset with Marvel and DC, and I think I understand partially why, but I haven't
character assassination.
I haven't read the modern books to formulate my own opinion on that, so I don't know.
Yeah.
And I don't take a stance on it. I believe you, but I don't take a stance on this. So Astral Ticket, like, this is the comics we make. This is what we're going to do. We're just going to let it be fun, and we want to entertain you. And if that is, you know, again, something like Space Western,
that's the way to be.
Want the waifus? Then sure, whatever. We make a variety of series for a reason.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, dude, this is pretty crazy, man, and I think that people should definitely check it out. If this is up your alley, if you like, you know, Outlaw Star and
Bebop, Trigun,
Cowboy
Firefly,
Bebop,
Mandalorian.
Trigun. Yep.
I swear the guys who wrote Mandalorian read Cremisi #1.
Hey, man, you never know. You never know.
That would be how infuriating that would be to find out somebody who worked on like a majorly huge thing, got the idea from you, and like you have nothing. Like,
well, I mean, unfortunately, sometimes that happens. All you can do is just you know, make your stuff as good as you can, man.
Every day.
Yeah.
Fortunately.
We'll be going for about an hour now, a little over an hour actually. Is there anything else you want to say about Cremisi or your company in general before we wrap it up?
Oh, always. Well, I would like to say thank you to those who have backed us so far. This has been, obviously, I can't hide it, slower than what we've been experiencing the last couple of years. A lot of people on Kickstarter, I know, the interesting thing about comics is that everybody talks to each other. We may not like each other all the time, but we do talk to each other. And
it's a niche market.
Other creators, many of which who have work professional companies and are way smarter and bigger than myself, have been reporting way down numbers on Kickstarter right now.
Yeah.
I don't know if Fund My Comic is funneling out some of those people. I don't know if it's the economy being poor or if it's the fact that more of the big name guys that have worked, like Neil Gaiman showing up, that are kind of also funneling people just to themselves. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I can say that we are still doing really well.
Good.
And that people who have supported this campaign, I want to say thank you very much for that. Pure Intent #2, we're coming off of that one, which did ridiculously well. I will say, if you guys haven't done it already and you were part of the Pure Intent #2 campaign, you really need to read Cremisi, because Pure Intent's the prequel to Cremisi. And there are things that happen in Pure Intent #2 that won't make as much sense until you see Cremisi. We will be here again with SuccuBUSTED #3 that will come later towards the end of this year. That SuccuBUSTED #3, Full Frontal Fetish Assault is the title of that issue. You'll know why when you read it, why it's called that. It's that book.
Funny. Hey, the title is supposed to inform the reader, like, of what they're getting into, you know.
That one has a lot of special stuff we've planned for it. Lyrics will return for that one with a new cover. We've got more cosplay stuff and a series of ultra lewds on that one, including some more Dungeons and Dragons themed covers in celebration of things like Baldur's Gate coming out and doing so well. But the last thing I'll say, guys, please remember, not just for me, but for anybody who's on Kickstarter, Fund My Comic, Indiegogo, whatever, when you back our comics, and even for $5 or whatever, if you just share us on social media, you are actively contributing to putting food on our tables. The cat you've been seeing, you're feeding him. You're feeding our artists. You're taking care of us. You're not buying some guy at Warner Brothers or Disney another golden toilet. So thank you. If you don't back me, you back other creators on Kickstarter. Thank you for doing that. We really appreciate you guys.
Help feed the kitties. The kitties need the foods and the loves.
Feed the kitties and get books with titties. That's what I can do for you. I mean,
feed the kitties and get books with titties. That's a great tagline, man. Yeah. Well, Isaac, thank you so much for coming to hang out, dude. And everybody in the chat, you guys are fucking awesome. Listen to the wise Feline. Please like, share, and subscribe. And feed the kitties. And, remember, everybody.
Shop smart, shop S-Mart.